Kailang natin. All right, so good afternoon, good morning. We always say good morning in marketing. So my name is George, and this is your module 2, the mootness of living below your means. Let me start by saying you deserve to be rich. If you look at the right side of the screen, can you decipher that code? Okay, I'll give you a second or two. Yeah, you're correct. It says the square root of evil. No, not the square root, but the nth root of evil. That evil, from 1 to infinity, all evil, the root of evil is money. But in the Bible, it doesn't say that. If you read the Bible never said that money is the root of all evil. In 1 Timothy 6, verse 10, that's the original writing. It was written by St. Paul. The original text said, money is not the root of all evil. It's the love of money. The love of money is the root of all evil. In fact, if you will follow the writings of the Bible, God wants you to be rich. If you just inspect the Solomon's gold, one of the richest persons in the mythological, at least the path in the Bible, if you will look at all the gold, one has surmised, looking at the current valuation of gold, Solomon's gold would equal about $240 trillion. The gold in the Temple of Jerusalem. See, if you think that God, just wants poor people, then you're mistaken. God wants people to be rich. I came that you may have life and life to the fullest. That's what Jesus said. Even in the Bible, you would see that all the favorites of God are billionaire. Abraham was a billionaire. Isaac and Jacob was a billionaire. I mean, if you just look at all uh, the the livestock that they own, all right? Okay, and this is also a link, a hyperlink that goes to certain websites that more or less tells you why everyone should be a billionaire, right? Okay, so let's proceed. Stop talking about the glass as half empty or half full. For business people, it's a saleable item with a quick 30% markup. Or better if you are Maynila. These are companies in the Philippines, Maynila and Manila Water Corporation. You look at the glass always as an opportunity, right? So be positive. Looking for opportunities. Opportunities are all before you. There are always two sides of the story. Let me tell you a story of the salesman in Africa. Two salesmen in Africa. They were sent in Africa to sell shoes. This is sometime in the 20s. Um, so one of the salesmen said, bring me home. No one here is wearing shoes. The other guy said, bring me more shoes because all the people here are not wearing shoes. So, it's always about opportunity. Grab the opportunity, turn your can't be to can be. These are obstacles to riches for every person, no matter what your race or color. It's always about fear of rejection, fear that you will be rejected. Maybe you have a good idea, but then said, what if people reject me? Or second, the fear of failure. What if I fail? For us Filipinos, is always this three: the fear of failure. What if I fail? People would laugh at me. It's always about people laughing at you. Uh, or number one, the fear of one's own worth, your own worth, we are always afraid of what we might be. I remember my father, God rest in his soul. He's a very good guy. He's a nice person, but then he doesn't want me to reach for things that are beyond me. He would always tell me, if you don't want to be hurt, just stay within your, whatever you can reach. Don't there's a saying in Filipino, huwag mong akapin ang puno na mataba, or you don't hug the trunk of a tree if it's too wide for you or too big for you. So I think a lot of Filipino children were brought up that way for fear that people might, reject you, or fear that you might not be able to make it, and then you become sad, you become desperate, and all that. So those are obstacles to riches. Okay, fear of rejection. Let me tell you a story about. This is my own story. Of course, I just got the pictures just recently, but there was a true story about um, um, this, no, the fear of rejection. When I was still a young, an accountant, a young accountant, finance guy working in the bank, there used to be times when I would sleep in the office. There's those were the times in the 90s when you can still sleep in the bank. Of course, now it's no more. Even in the Philippines, we are not allowed to do that. So one stormy night, not really a storm, but it was a rainy night. Um, I saw a little girl selling sampaguitas. If you look at the picture, those are sampaguitas. These are just flowers, white in color, that we sew together, and then usually people would buy them and put them, in statues of saints and Virgin Mary and all that. Okay, so this little girl was selling sampaguitas at 11 p.m. Almost midnight. The rain was pouring really hard, and I was just about to go to sleep, and I just peeped to the window of the bank, and I saw one small girl, selling sampaguita at 11 p.m. against a blinding rain. And you know, I mean, I just told myself, how stupid this little girl is. I mean, who would buy a sampaguita? Who would buy sampaguitas at 11 p.m. against a blinding rain? What if she meets an accident because of what she's doing? She would go from car to car, and this is what really what street children do in the Philippines, in Manila. And that place was in Ortigas Avenue. It's a busy place, especially if it's raining. During those times, 90s, there were so many infrastructure repair and building, going on. I think the MRT was still being built during those times. So there's a lot of traffic. Traffic's still heavy at that point in time. So what the little girl would do would be, every time that the traffic lights gets to red, she would go from car to car selling her sampaguita. But it was raining, it was night. Who would buy that? But then, wonder of wonders, she would. I think I counted more than 30 cars. She went to more than 30 cars. But then, miracle of miracles, one of those cars, lowers the window, buys all the sampaguitas. I just saw that she ran away. The old lady, gets the sampaguita, gives her something. Didn't ask for any change. During those times, I think it was 500 pesos. 500 pesos is about 250. More or less 250 yen, or what is it in the money in CNY, right? So more or less, that little girl was successful, and she wasn't afraid of being rejected. She just went from car to car. So I would always remind myself of that little girl. If I'm afraid of being rejected, then I would be shamed by that little girl who was selling sampaguita at 11 p.m. against a blinding rain. Fear of failure is also prevalent, especially among us Filipinos. It's always about, what if I fail? But remember, if you're in a deck of card, in a fair deck of card, there are 52 cards, and if you were trying to get the ace, there are four aces there, right? So if I pick out a card, the probability of me getting an ace is 4 out of 52, or 1 out of 13, right? But what if, wonder of wonders, I keep on picking the cards, I'm not returning the cards to the deck, right? but I keep on drawing the cards. But wonder of wonders, I have already drawn 26 cards, no aces. But I know that the deck of cards is fair, right? So what do I do? Do I stop drawing the cards? Of course not. There are 26 cards there because I've already drawn 26, and four of those 26 cards are aces. So that would be around 2 out of 13, right? But wonder of wonders, I keep on drawing cards, but then I reach to 48 cards, no aces. So I just drawn 48 cards and only four cards remaining. I said to myself, "Wow, these are useless cards. What would I do? Would I stop? Of course not, right? Because you know that if the cards, the deck of cards is fair, then there are four cards that remain, and those four cards are all aces. So what am I saying here? If you don't want if you are afraid of failure, just get all the no's already. I mean, draw all the useless cards, draw all the no's, and get used on hearing those rejections and failure, because at the end, towards the end, when all the useless cards are gone, only the aces remain. In Tagalog, there's a beautiful saying that says, ubusin mo ang butaw. Butaw is, the useless cards. These are cards that have no value, right? So just get all those in the way, get all those useless cards out of the way, and only the aces remain. Yeah. So even in history, there are so many failure stories, and I know that you know some of these stories. The Beatles, one regarded to be one of the most successful bands of all time, if not the most successful band of all time, was rejected by 24 recording companies, and in the end, they just founded their company, the recording company, in order to record their song, the Apple Records, right? Madonna, regarded to be one of the most successful female singers of all time, pop queen or whatever she's now called. When she first posed for Playboy, the Playboy said, she doesn't have the X factor. Elvis Presley, king of rock and roll, so 138 of 139 top 40 songs, and about 14 or 15 number one songs. When he recorded his his first song, which he planned to give to his mother, the song was called "That's All Right with Mama." The recording guy uh, told him, because he was a truck driver during those times, don't sing. You are better as a truck driver. Don't ever plan on singing. Walt Disney was fired for lack of creativity. And of course, there was a story of the 10,000 bulbs for Edison. I know that now we're saying that it's what's this? Tesla who invented, but for the sake of romanticism, 10,000 bulbs for Edison. When he was asked what was going on in your mind during those 10,000 bulbs that was broken in order to produce the right bulb. So he asked very candidly, I just regarded the 9,999 broken bulbs as 9,999 ways of not making a light bulb. Yeah. What if I fail? No, what if you succeed? So if you want to be successful, don't be afraid to fail. Okay, fail all over and over again. So sorry, this should be animated. So yeah, sorry about that. So this should have been animated, but this is, as you very well know, this is Michael Jordan, one of my most favorite athlete of all time. Pisces too, yeah, just like I am. So he said, in his tryout, he failed in high school tryout, because he was so small, he was so skinny. He missed more than 9,000 shots. He said, I missed more than 9,000 shots. I lost almost 300 games. On 26 occasions, I have been entrusted to take the game-winning shot, and I missed. I have failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeeded. Right? That's true. Some excuses in in uh, in investment. Whenever you hear people, come on, join us in understanding what investment is all about, how to invest in the stock market. Um, Some people would say, I don't have the capital, I don't have the money, stock market is just for rich people, such for wealthy people. Okay, those are excuses. My income is so small, I can't, give something that will be placed for investment. I don't have the time to study. I hate numbers. These are hard things. The seminar is too far. The webinar is too far. Now it's online. The webinar is, I don't know. There's so many excuses. Can it be for free? Those are so many excuses of people, especially here in the Philippines. They want to be rich, but they don't want to study. So that's really something bad. So for one of the workshop in this module is really analyzing where you are. So it's for 3 minutes, but you can pause the video if you like, write down all your expenses. So how much are you spending on the following? Of course, some of you are not going on dates anymore because you're grown-ups. But how much are you spending for food, clothing, transportation, bills, whatever, cell phone? In the Philippines we have cell phone loads, but whatever, Netflix subscription, whatever it is, if you are uh, buying subscriptions, purchasing subscription for your apps, for your games online, yeah, just list them down and then pause the video, write them down. Because why that is important. Later on we'll see. Okay, pause the video and then list it down. Okay, welcome back. So this is really an example for the Philippines, but I know that you can align it with your country, align it in your own you know the way it is done in your country. Okay, so this is a savings formula that has changed since the 1980s. It used to be that you pay your expenses first, you pay your bills first, and then whatever remains is the savings. But look at this, no. So let's just pretend, even if this is US, right? So even if you are earning $100,000 a year. All right, this is a year for US, right? $100,000 a year. It's still small because the median income is about $40,000. So let's just say that it's $100,000 a year. Okay. So if you are spending $90,000 of those $100,000 and are just saving $10,000, middle class maybe earns $55,000 and saves $10,000 for savings. Thrifty Joe only earns $30,000. Very, very poor guy. It's below median. Let's just say that the median is $30,000. Okay, so he spends $20,000 of those $30,000 and saves $10,000. Right? For me, this is an example of a person who's not earning that much, but he's saving almost half of that. So $7,000 is being placed. So if you will look at this, it looks like poor me is the poorest one of all. Well, you can take that way, or you can say which one of these four do you want to be? So maybe most of you would say, I would rather be the rich kid or just the middle class, right? But never the poor me. But let me just look at it from this perspective and say that in The Millionaire Mind, this is a book that I mentioned in the first module. According to the extensive study of Stanley and Bilko, it takes 10 years of annual expenses to retire with ease. So meaning, you have to look at your annual expenses, and in order to retire with ease or be financially free, you have to save 10 years of your annual expenses. So if we go back here, of course, my example here is in pesos, but just look, pretend that this is in dollars. So if you would look at this, $10,000 times 10 years, right? So that means it has to have no, 90,000, right? So $90,000 times 10, that's $900,000. If you want to retire with ease, you should have at least 900,000 in your savings. $900,000, but you are only saving $10,000. So 900,000 divided by 10,000 is 90 years. So that means this rich kid, even if he is rich because he's earning a lot, right? In the current scenario, if he stops working, then he is easily beaten, right? Because he has to work for 90 years in order to retire. All right. So for the middle class, you have 45,000. You multiply this by 10, that means $450,000. $450,000 divided by 10,000, that's 45 years. And most of the middle class works really for more than 30 years. I know a lot of people who work for 30 years and yet they have not saved anything, right? Why? Because of the income? Maybe, but it's really because of the expenses. Now, Thrifty Joe, if you will look at Thrifty Joe, $20,000 times 10, that's $200,000 divided by 10,000, that's only 20 years, right? So meaning Thrifty Joe can, needs only to work for 20 years in order to retire with ease. So if he starts working at 20, he retires by 40 because he's thrifty. If you look at poor me or poor Juan, $8,000 is the expenses. So that means in order to retire, of course, this is not really realistic, but some people really can live off with just $8,000 a year. So 8,000 times 10 is $80,000 divided by 7. That's only 15, 16 years, less than 20 years. So 80,000 divided by 7. So that's 81, 7, 10, 11 years, 12 years maybe even, right? 12 or 13 years. So this guy needs only to work for 13 years and is already financially free. So if he works for 20 and he has 7 years of extra, right? So he can really retire with ease. So it's not really about, this is the computation here. This is not really about how much you earn, but how much you spend from what you earn, how much you save from what you earn. This allows you to be financially free. You have to live below your means. That's really the lesson of this topic right now. So this is in the Philippine peso. Of course, we computed it in a different way because we take into consideration that the amount given is in dollars. But in peso, if this is just for every month, same thing, right? Well, in our case, I computed for 13 months because there's a bonus for 13 months. But still, if you look, Richie Kid, if this is the Philippine scenario, 49 years of working, 30 years of working with middle class, 16 years of working with Thrifty Joe, with only 10 years of working with the poorest guy. So it's really, again, not how much you earn, but how much you save from what you earn that really matters. Okay, you have to live below your means. Thank you very much for listening and see you in the next video. Bye.